webinar series, and I would like to welcome from the Department of History and Political Science. It's our distinct pleasure to invite you all, respected teachers, students, scholars, and our guests. Uh, so, in this session, we would like to listen the two prominent speakers of the day, and we will discussing about their thrilling topics. With us today we have with us Professor Projit Palit, Director, Center for Indological Studies, Department of History, Assam Central University, and today with us the speaker Swami Devapriyananda, Spiritual Director, Ramakrishna Vedanta Center, Lusaka, from Zambia, and from the first technical center of the international webinar, I would like to invite Professor Sarat Chandra Pradhan to deliver the welcome address with a few words. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Pradhan. Now,
Hey,
sorry, ମୁଁ ଜାଣିପାରିଲିନି ହେଲା ଆଉଥରେ କରିବା ହଁ ମୁଁ କହି ତମେ good afternoon everyone. I extend a warm welcome to all the participants to the international webinar on Initiative Policy Dialogues 22 2020 COVID-19 and the life practice beyond the pandemic, organized by Department of History and Political Science, Jain College Kumar, in close collaboration with Center for Adivasi Research and Development. I find immense pleasure in introducing our speaker, Professor Projit Kumar Palit. Projit Kumar Palit, Director of Center for Indological Study, Department of History, Assam Central University, Silachar, Assam. We are really thankful to him for taking the time out of his busy schedule to attend the webinar. Professor Palit also always ready to render a helping hand to the student. The presence of such a personality in this webinar is a blessing. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome eminent speaker Swami Devapriyananda, spiritual director Ramakrishna Vedanta Center, Lusaka, Zambia. His love for humanity and always ready to render helping hand to the poor and needy is an inspiration to many. The presence of Swami is a good will for us. Again, hope a good time. Again, I thank you all for joining us. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Thank you, Professor Pradhan. Am I audible? Uh,
Yes.
Miss Payal Agarwal, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are quite audible.
Hello. Miss Payal Agarwal, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are
Yes. Yes. I'd like to request you, Miss Payal Agarwal, please give the introduction of the guests of the technical session of the international webinar.
I hope I am audible clearly.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Thanks, Rudra sir, for giving me this opportunity. First of all, warm greetings to all. After successful completion of the inaugural session, we are actually now heading towards a technical session. And I feel immensely privileged to introduce two of our erudite speakers of this session. Dr. Projit Kumar Palit. He is a professor, Department of History, Jadunath Sarkar School of Social Science, Assam University. He is an excellent academician. To his credit, he has written a number of books and n number of his articles were published in books, national and international journals. Besides this, he is a visiting fellow to various other universities. He has a number of other laudable achievements. At present, he is working as a director, Center for Indological Studies, Department of History, Assam University. Sir, it is our proud privilege that you have accepted our invitation. We will be pleased to hear your talk. Your topic is Tribal Movements in Northeast India, Local Participation and Resistance, as the topic is suggested by you. Our next speaker is Swami Devapriyananda. He is the Secretary and Spiritual Director of Ramakrishna Vedanta Center, Lusaka, Zambia. Revered Swami Devapriyananda is a monk of the Ramakrishna order. He is an influential figure and an excellent speaker. Your topic is Young Minds and New Imaginations for Aspiring India. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Projit Kumar Palit for his talk. Over to Dr. Projit.
Hello.
Yes.
I audible. I am audible.
Yes, sir, you are quite audible.
Okay. Honorable Palit Chakravarti, JM College, the principal of the JM College, Cuttack, and respectable two conveners, Sarchandra Pradhan and Subham Das, and my dear students. My topic actually today I discuss an argument the tribal movement in Northeast India, local participation and resistance. Actually, we can, when we're talking about that tribal movements in Northeast India, before that, why we relook the tribal movement in Northeast India? Because we know the lot of argument or lot of research and actually done by the tribal movements in not only Northeast India but also Odisha or Eastern India or India. Okay, but why? Why now again we relook these actually tribal movements in Northeast India? Globalization actually affect not only in the world economy or politics and society, it will actually it also be affected. It also be to change to study history also, world history also. We know the main actually how the globalization affect, how the globalization to try to change our study history. Actually, we know the main for school of historiography, which actually we know everybody, the Cambridge School, National School, Marxist School, and lastly, Subaltern School. Actually, all school they argument and their own actually way, and all schools they control the historical wisdom and imposing the own thinking process to academic world. But the globalization actually did not only destroying the school or grossity of historiography, but also it has opened the historical wisdom. A new way actually we are now the new way was growing to study the history, that is we call relooking history or history 2. So what is history 1 or a school of history? History 1 actually we are analytical, we are an analysis or interpret the subject. The all school, the own way, they analysis the political, economic and social history. But the history 2 or relooking the history based on narrative rituals, songs, chronicles, they all are alternative sources. Main objective of the relooking history or history 2 to use the alternative sources and to change the traditional actually thinking process and to challenge the traditional sources. And actually that way I actually the history 2 or relooking, we are relooking the tribal movement, how in Northeast India, how they actually participate and how they revolt the British power. Actually, the movement, we can divide it, the movement, the 4 categories in Northeast tribal movement. The agrarian movements, forest-based movement, socio-religious, socio-cultural movement, the movement due to exploration by the outsiders. And why and how they started movement, what is actually why they actually required this movement? Because the British policies, the British government and British policies, 1844, there is some planning to collect the profit. Actually, that is also the main profit means their sources, the whole colonial India. So we divided that project, they divided in India, whole India, the 4 actually sectors. The first, the irrigation project, they started to extension the farming to northern India, and they collected the timber and mining from the central India, and actually the tea plantation and forestry timber, actually they collected from the northeast India. The timber industry, tea, coffee plantation in South India. There is actually the policy also implemented, the policy, actually British government by the England Queen, the proposal they passed, and they plan how to the actually collected the sources from India. The British policies in Northeast India, come to the Northeast India, how they actually Northeast India this policy implemented. They actually encouragement of forest and barren lands. First, they actually this policy is implement, and also they are utilization the forest wealth and the wealth for the benefit and commercialization the agriculture, and the the government control the over the forest zone for revenue purpose. But before that, the forest actually only for the tribal people. They think about that generation by generation. The forest, the own property. The forest, their own property, because they are the forest land they got from God. That is also actually why the relook history, or we are talking about that how to the relooking history, because the other all the Marxist actually this Marxist school and also the subaltern school, they are interpret they actually the economic basically they are thought about that they all the movements tribal revolt they based on the economic exploitation and development for developing this new actually new land, and they collecting the land. But the my people also my thinking my interpret the another way, because that is not only the actually economy and social factors. There are also more important factors also behind that also the religious and their mainly their religious or the way of life. They disturb their way of life. The way of life is part of the actually religion, culture, their rituals, all this disturb, and that is also their actually revolt. How the British policies, forest policies in 1844 in Northeast India, they are actually three. Actually, they took the three policies. The land, the first they tried to land to improve the population explosion, the demand the food, actually to feed, because at that time we can census, we can see the census that the explosion the actually population, and there also we require the food, and not only the Indian populations that time, but the increasing the foreign actually people, they coming from the more British actually people, the for soldiers and officers. So that's why so the demand for foods that times and 1884. So that's why the land is more important. And cleaning the forest and developing the new land. The land is more important at that times. And also if this policy is implemented, what is the effect? They are also the impact on the hunting. They are hunting also. The hunting was prohibited. The punishment for poachings, the hunting for wild animal only allow for Britishers. That is also another actually way of life. How to the way of life they disturbed by the British government. That is also we can relook the history now, because that the hunting their part of lives. They are all the tribal people still now they are actually habituated the hunting, the poaching, and there what now the British government the new policies or the new rules they implemented or Northeast India, the hunting is prohibited by tribal peoples, not only tribal peoples, any Indian peoples. They are actually any Indian peoples means the tribal peoples here more. So and they also allow the Britishers the hunting wild animals. That is also they revolt in Northeast India. And another many causes there how to the Northeast actually captures they are planning, because they are manager Raj, planter Raj also we started, because they are in Northeast India they are actually that time they think about that, and they use the tea plantation. They measured planning the government the tea plantations in the Northeast India, because that the lot of causes why they choose the Northeast India the tea plantation. I come to the later on. Just actually that's why the planters and managers was started, and the role of actually many intermediates, they actually many intermediates came in Northeast India at that time, because the when the plantation was started, and plantation it is not possible without actually the contractors, means the intermediates means the contractors are others, because labor supplier and water supplier, all these actually contractors, the intermediates, they are also the actually huge actually contractors, they are coming in Northeast India. The new people, they are not accepted, the tribal peoples. And the informal actually overcrowded the laborers. They actually that times they imported the laborers from the mainstreams, because the you can know the actually plantation they required the huge labor. So labor that actually in tribal people, they are not interested to actually tea gardens. So tea gardens laborers in Northeast now, they are actually tribal people. So they are laborers. The laborers called is coolie. In also Assam and other things, they called the coolie. And coolie, all the coolies came from the actually EP, Bihar and Bengal, and some part of actually Southern India also. So this is a new actually community also they develop. They actually the informal the laborers, they are occupied the northeast tribal land, and this is the working hours also be actually that's why implemented the 1881 to 1941. That is also the working hour act also imposed, because before that the people the working this own way, but now the first implemented 1881 the act also implemented the Britishers. The that is also not only the not the tribal people also, but also they implemented this act the India actually the colonial India, and this act by the working hours are fixed working hours. So anyway they actually they this is not because the everybody accepted the working hours, but the tribal people they are not controlled by the any time frame. That also the another actually the revolt. And they are actually in the 19th centuries, the new demands among the workers, the strike and all these things also be started. The 19th century, the whole world, the new systems also be started, and there also be the role, there are also the lot of things also be there, and we can. That's why the major Adivasi movement in Northeast India, the major Adivasi movement, the lot of movements also be started. We can list the Nagas movement, Assamese movements, Bodo movements, Dimasa movements, Karbi movements, Manipuri actually movements, Kukis movements, Tripuris movement, Riang movement, Jamatia tribal movements, actually Mar tribal movements and Khasi tribal movements. We can actually measure the minor tribals I cannot incorporate, but major tribal movements also be there. This is also the major tribal movement in Northeast India. We are Adivasi. We are talking about that the Adivasi movements in Northeast India, and they are also the why the actually we are just all this tribal movement. We choose the three tribal movement. We have this because a lot of times is required. So actually, why actually why the tribal movements or the movements of the based on plantation, the people also be revolted, because we can the one movement also they are also be there. The 1921 the Chodgala Despotas is one of the most of the actually these mass movement resistance to the plantation system operational Assam in Assam during the colonial period. How and why? Because that before that we can see the actually majority of the coolies that travel were employed from the EP, Chodranpur and Southern Pargana. And the 1995, the Sylhet was the actually the Sylhet, because the Sylhet means the Sylhet district of and now the Bangladesh and some part of the Silchar and the Karimganj. This is part of the Sylhet, but the majority part now actually in Bangladesh. So the 1895, the British government, the largest tea production district we declare, and they plan actually before that actually the tea plantation. So the tea plantation, tea garden, the whole Sylhet, they are increasing, and they are in that centuries almost produce the 4 lakhs pounds more than any other district of the province. Just you can think about that, how they actually the huge production of the tea in these areas. It is actually they collected only for that, they exploit by the coolies, and the coolies they collected from actually main stream, and it means not only northeast, they are also the northeast people, they are not affected, they are not employed because they are actually not interested the travel actually tea gardens, tea plantation. The actually one of the actually we are daily wage, why the Chorgola Escodas happened. For that, there also the daily wage very low. You can say we can just Radhakrishnan Pandey. They directed by actually he was the leader that time. He was the leader to hire daily wage, because they hired daily wage of the 12 annas for men and 8 annas for women and 3 annas as 6 pies for boys, claiming into actually that time the Gandhi orders, the Gandhi Hukum, that the Gandhi movements. That's why the Gandhi was in 1921. There also actually everybody, but there is no connection to the coolies in these Chorgola is the most remote place, and now also there also the plantation was there. Plantation is there, and this is the Karimganj district, now the district of Karimganj, and not only Popar district of Karimganj, they are also from 20 kilometers from Karimganj. But that time also they are actually heard, the coolies of the heard the actually Gandhi, name of the Gandhi. They are thoughts that Gandhi as a god or any one person. That not actually they are TV and other media, they are not available. But the plantation worker, the popular known as a coolies, 1921, the all coolies strike the Chorgola valleys and opposition due to the authorities and refusal to grant their better ways. And that is also the first the plantation movement against the Britishers. They actually unimagination thinking about that. All the coolies of the Chorgola valleys, they marched to right through the Karimganj and subdivisional, that time the subdivisional headquarters, and they are actually on journey, why they are not any other train or other things, on foot. They are actually and they march from the Chorgola to actually Karimganj and subdivisional office. And local volunteers groups of the district level Congress worker, they did mobilize their resources, and they also supported the coolies and all these things. But the middle weeks of the near thousands of the coolies from the another, they started the movement in Chorgola, but this movement also they actually extended the Anipur, Dhamchara, Mukharjana, and all these actually all these gardens. They are all gardens they left the coolies, and they also the Warchara and many actually Aligarh and all these Aliar, all these actually whole areas that actually plantation or tea gardens. They are also the all the coolies. They are outsider coolies, and they are strike, and they are against these British officers and all the managers. They actually that times the Gorkha Rifles and Assistant Deputy Commissioner K.C. Day, they brutally assaulted the large coolies at the Chandrapur railway, because some coolies also they are planning to leave this actually place, and because that the coolies life they are only for the season, and there is no difference between the coolies of the Western the slave systems. There are also the one type of slave system. A lot of records also with there, because that time we see the how to the lifestyles of the coolies. They are actually in Calcutta. The coolies they are collected the coolies and coolies from these areas, and they wait. They how the actually they were healthy and other things and the what, and all these actually contractors they are collected these coolies, and they are all the coolies, and they are sent to northeast for actually for plantation workers. The officials positions the incident. They are also they face the cholera epidemic, all these things. They are also this strike, the waves are spreading the Assam Valley plantation. That is also actually the first time, and again the tribal. This is also the resistance and the participants. You can see how to the resistance. The people, the tribal, then actually all are they are tribes, but they are not the actually northeast tribes, the Mongoloid tribes. They are not the Mongoloid tribes, but the others, the school, they are actually their argument, the analysis is they are all are the coolies are the actually northeast people, but they are not northeast people. The one things, another thing also the participations, not only the actually not only these local people, but also the general people, the many Congress actually workers and other things, they also be supported actually the movements, and this movement also and this is also the crisis of tea industry and representative, and they are also the actually new crisis. This is also the new crisis of the tea productions of Northeast India 1921. The Modern Review they also reported that times, and many actually newspaper that times they reviewed, and they after that the British government took the policies, and they had to do the new labor policies they implemented in after incidents of Chorgolas. I come to the next actually revolt, because that is also the Kuki revolt of Northeast India. As a Kuki actually Kuki did not like Kuki actually one types. There are also basically the Kukis. Hello. The Kukis they did not like the Britishers and the Manipuri kings and Manipur kings rule in Chittagong and others ancestral land. The series of confrontation where they occurred between the Kukis and British following the 1777, 1830, 1834, 1836, 1846, 1850, 1860. The long actually they are resistance against the British, against the Manipuri king and also the Manipur kings of Tripura. The Kuki actually they believe they actually this territory, the jurisdiction, they are not as a part of Manipur or British territory. They actually Hill Tripura was the Kukis land. They believe that the land actually basically the Kukis. But that time the Manipur king, the Krishnakishore Manipur, the king of Tripura, tried to control the hill Tripura, and he was also the planning to collect the taxes from hill Tripura. But the Kuki chiefs, they are opposed and to extended the power of the actually the Krishna Kishore Maniko and the British power. The Kuki did not actually, Kukis are not only the attack the Britishers, but also they raid the main tribal villages. Those are actually they are supported the Britishers or Maniko king. They are actually they are also closer the Britishers and Christian missionaries in Kachar Silet area, and that Kukis also the thinking about that this tribal village, the tribal people, not that part of the community. So they are actually they are more hostile, attacking the Monks, Chakma, the Pipuris villagers. And 1836 they killed the 15% and wounded the 300 men, and all the villagers, the they wanted the villagers and the plain Tripura districts. That's also the first, 1986, they attacking not the actually others tribals, those are actually very much closer of the Christian missionaries and also the British people, and also they are very closer to the kings. And in 1844, the Krishna Maniko, the first time, he also sent the one British officers, actually British soldiers on troops, the leaders of the Captain Blackwood to Lusa Hills, but they failed. Actually, the Captain Blackwood, they attacked the Lusa Hills, but he successful some portion. They actually they tried to arrest it. He arrested the Kuki chiefs like Chulka from the Kuki Hills, but Kuki raids were continued against the British and local kings areas. 1847, the Kuki raided the British territory of Kachar. They killed more than 150 peoples. Late 1849, the Kuki attacks and looted the village market and the plain land of the Chittagong and Kachars. The Kuki are planning actually after that a full-scale revolt against the feudal, actually all our feudal kings of Tripura and the British. The Kuki leaders, all the Kuki leaders, they are actually they organized. They organized and the leadership of the Roton Pua. Actually, that times he was a series of revolt against the king of Tripura and British power. The month they started this 1860, the January, and they are actually it is called by the Britishers many records. It is known as Great Cookies Raid in 1860. More than 500 cookies under the Roton Tua, he came to down the Chittagong hill tracks and attacking the plain Maniko and British territory. And after that, the Isan Chandra Maniko, one later king, he tried to control, unable to stop the cookie raid, the various place of the Chakra Rosnabad and this part of the kingdom. So, 1861, the Ravan, the Captain Ravan attacked the military expeditions, the Kuki Hills, and but the Kukis also they attacked the plain land of Udaipur, the old capital city of the Tripuras, and they looted the shops and market and carried out the many huge wealth, and that also the kidnapping. That also the kidnapping that 200 ladies and girls of Riang, Chakmas. So that is also the massacre. This is also they are failed to control this Isan Chandra Maniko. Again, this massacre. This massacre also the Amadpur village. They attacking 1862 the Amadpur. They are large people, large villagers. They are killed, and all these things. They are actually the Maniko king and also the British authorities. They are very actually their power also they're not working. Law and orders, these areas they controlled by the Kuki chiefs. So after that the British government and next king, the Bir Chandra Maniko, decided to negotiate the Kuki chiefs, and they provided the VAT or gift to base of the many actually agreement between the Kuki leaders among the actually Kuki leaders. So the Kukis they are controlling the movement. After that, they actually in 1890, the DR loyally they control the Kuki and Lusa hills. They actually there the British powers. After that they are actually the Manipur kings and Britishers. They are huge. They planning to use soldiers and other soldiers, and they are actually attacking to Lusa Hills. And the 1890 we recorded with that 1890 the Kukis that came to under the British India. That is also the Kuki revolt. And next I can actually another movement, another revolt, the movement, just Riang movement of actually in Tripura tribal communities. The Riang actually second largest tribal community in Tripura, and basically the Riang the society, the village was primarily the political organizations there. The chiefs is the actually they control the whole society. The king actually Bir Chandra Kishore, they say Bir Chandra Maniko, he was actually that time they introducing to Chaudhuri as a chief of Riang or actually Riang village. The Riang people not accepted the Chaudhuri. They are outsiders. So that's also the confrontation was started from Bir Chandra Maniko and also the Riang. The Bir Chandra Maniko means they are also the actually that times also the Tripura of the colonial state, and it is not the actually Maniko local king. They are also the local king versus local king with the British government and British power the against the Riang revolt. So in general school, the historical school, there analysis the Riang revolt only for the against the Maniko kings, but it is not that. They actually why this the movement also started, because that the Riang are the exploited by the Maniko kings, because that area, the south, the Riang, they are mostly they live in South Tripura, but the South Tripura they are also the actually the fertile land, and they are the tax, the family tax, the increasing the family tax, the 1870 to 1874, where just actually one record is there. Tripuri actually they given 3 rupees 80 pice, but the Riang they are given that time the family tax the 10 rupees, and Kuki also the 5 rupees 40 paisa. So this is also the actually one cause is the Riang revolt, and also the that time the rice price also be increasing in when the actually this time 1937 to 8, there also the price that area this 1 kilo rice, the price is 6 rupees 25 paisa, but the 1942 that time 20 rupees to 70. So they are actually unable to purchase these rice and other things, and there is no way to how to the actually they are supported. They actually appeal to become Maniko. They appeal to their situation is not their adverse situation. So that's why the young uprising or revolt, the 1940 to 1943. Their leader was the Ratan Muni. He is the young uprising, the mainly the leaders. He was actually the mystic Sannasi. Their first time their king, they actually arrested the Ratan Muni, and but the Ratan Muni escaped this actually jail from the Maniko king. How he escaped, they are not any recorded, but he managed to escape. And when the escape came to the Udaipur and the Riyam community, they think that there is actually Ratan Muni as a god of their community, and Ratan Muni to revolt to Maniko kings against the Maniko king, and there Udaipur, Bilonia, all these areas they are actually capturing, and they all the law and orders by the Ratan Munis. But the after that actually the after that the kings sent to the troops with the British force, with the British soldiers, and they are actually this revolt also not continued by the not continuous, and the Ratan Muni was arrested. But the same thing, Ratan Muni was arrested in the Maniko and actually Agartala jail, but he was after that he was within jail. He lost his life. But how he actually lost his life, the unnatural death, that is also the still now the young people, they believe that they actually Ratan Muni was a god, and this movement, the tribal movement also, you can relook the history. How to the relook the history? This is also, you think about that. This is also the actually the religion. How to the play the religion and culture. There are a lot of songs. The based on Ratan Muni, we have collected the young communities, and they still now. This is also you can actually we are the sources, the alternative sources. Which are the alternative sources? The just last we are just last my presents. This is also the new things. The everybody knows, but Cuttack also the associate the actually Netaji, the INA. The actually the INA was Japanese army, and INA during the Second World War, they are you know their first they enters the northeast, basically the Imphal, and the Imphal the war. The people also the actually the most the many schools, many scholars, they are not actually address the Meitei tribes and Kuki tribes and other tribes. They are how to the support the INA, because the Professor Lal Dena and actually Moni Mohan, they argue that during the war, actually the war, the only for prominent leader, the Iravat Singh was prominent leader of the Manipur, was actually arrested. Actually, he imposed in the Sylhet. So there is no local support to the Indo-Japanese force actually, and they are further noted that during the war, the whole administration and they remain the martial law. So Darbar of the actually Darbar means the king administration also the remains suspended. So the people, general people, not it is not actually support or difficult to and social and political organization to support this INA. But they actually nobody this is also the paper. The paper also published the History Congress, the journal, the History Congress proceedings. So you can see the only for later times you can see the only Samar Guho. He also argument, there is a local support also be there. So local contribution of the to Japanese and INA force during the Imphal offensive by the participation, the intelligent activities, all these activities also be there. Just how they actually supported the INA. They are INA, they are not they join as the soldiers, they are actually help the soldiers as a guide and helper. That is also be there. In 1944, the Japanese actually, the Fifth Army attacked the British troops stationed in Kohima and Imphal in Northeast India. The first week of the April, the Japanese were attacked Kohima and Imphal via Mizoram. From these Indo borders, they destroyed the supply base of the Britishers. They actually, that time, they actually led these forces, the association, they actually Kohima and Imphal, they actually captured. They reaching the Kohima during the April 1994, the Japanese, actually, we can see they are reaching. How to they reach? The local people, the local doctors, one doctor is there. They are actually local doctors, means the quack doctors. He lot of actually activities they organized by the Meitei and Cookies tribes, and they actually intermediate. These doctors Nevia. He also actually communicate the Japanese and INA soldiers. The INA soldiers need that time. They don't know. They actually INA and Japanese. They did not idea about the actually road about this land. But these people, the lot of record is there. In National Archives, and not only National Archives, and also the Guwahati Archives, the Assam Archives. There also the lot of actually listed the Cookies people, listed of the Meitei people and the Meitei Muslim. They are supported the INA, but the mainstream historian, they did not actually recognize the contribution, the participation, these actually Meiteis, Cookies and Nagas are the war of INA. So, that is also you are thinking about that, how they relook the history, the new way and new actually idea, that thing. That is also this my presentations. Those are not addressed, this revolt. I can try to actually, maybe I can satisfy satisfy. I try to, maybe you are satisfied my lectures. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your informative speech. And now I would like to invite Shubham Das for opening the question answer forum for Professor Projit Palit.
Thank you, sir. There are just two questions. One is, why is India's northeast a complex regional challenge for the Indian state? Another one is, why the northeastern states are still underdeveloped now?
Actually, hello. The first question, which is the first question?
Yes, sir. The first question is, why is India's northeast a complex regional challenge for the Indian state?
Acha, okay. And second is, why the underdeveloped now, still now the northeast?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Actually, the northeast, northeast now we are 7 sisters and 1 brothers. Means the 7 sisters were a 7 state, and now they joined the Sikkim. We are renamed this actually brother, the 7 sisters and 1 brothers. Okay, but you can see they are also they are mostly the Mongoloid people, but the Mongoloid people all they are came the Mongoloid and others, the other tribes, the complex of the demography in northeast, very complex actually demographical characters, very complex to other region to India. Number 1. Number 2, there are lot of actually dialect, lot of cultures, a lot of actually the religion, not many various type of the religion and the cultures, the existence in Northeast India. So the you can actually we are actually the Northeast India, whole Northeast India. They are also the mini India of that, because you can see the Assam, the Ahom dynasty, the 800 years in Ahom dynasty actually ruled, and before Britishers. Britishers also they are that times also the Ahom king, but the mainstream historian not address the actually Ahom dynasty. The and also the not only that, they are also the Khasi kingdoms, the Garo kingdoms, many kingdoms also be there. That nobody knows, and no actually the mainstream historian, mainstream actually the history writers, they not address all these things. So they do not know. They actually, they do not now. They do not know how the Northeast actually Northeast not underdeveloped, because that now you can see the Northeast, the actually the before that the government, the after independence, the first questions actually maybe I answered, because that the Northeast, the complexity is why the complex is there because the one areas to another areas, the different cultures, different dialect, and the lot of actually the 217 tribes there. The and you can see the in Tripura, the small area, there are 19 tribes. They recognize 19 tribes, and also their sub tribes also be there. So Naga, there are lot of clans is there. Their culture, the Naga one clan to another clan, they are different cultures. So the complexity also be there. So many complex are there. Cookies, they are cookies, Lusai. The cookies also they are identified cookie in actually in Tripura, but the Mizo is there. They are also the same clan. They identify in the Mizo and also the Lusai. They actually Mar also the part of the cookies. The cookie also the actually there are lot of clans all of the cookies. So that is also complexity. A second point, the after independence, the government they now actually interest about developing the Northeast India. The first we can see the Northeast region, the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government first time they relook the Northeast development, and now the present government also the huge development and huge communication, because the North, you can see the Silchar, the Mrs. Gandhi, when Indira Gandhi declared the railway, but it is long 40 years, it is not connected. But now not only Silchar, they connected also the Tripura, Agartala, and Agartala to Udaipur and Bilonia. So because these areas are more important for military strategic point of military. Lot of actually defense journal I can see there actually their defense record. There are many report for development communication is required, because you know the Arunachal, the border in Tripura, there are 75 actually kilometers the border with Bangladesh. The Arunachal same, they actually in China borders, and in Mizo they are also the Thailand and actually Burma borders, and Assam also actually the Thailand and Burma, and also the part of the actually small areas. You can area also the not only directly China, there are also China and Myanmar also. So all are, that's also the government also, the Manmohan Singh also the look policy, but they took the look policies, but it is not developed. Now the government also actually tried, and we can see the many developing. But now you can see the Northeast challenges the mainstream areas, because you can see all the universities we are ranking the actually ranking the all India level the very good, and the Silchar and now the position of the world, the 60 in the world and technological positions. And you can see the here also the Lajongs and the clubs, the defeated the Mohanbagans. And actually it's all nine Rimadas and others sportsmen and Mary Coms. You can see the Northeast actually now the dominating. Most of the IS officers they are coming from the Northeast, and now the Northeast is actually developing and actually developing. Hope the more develop actually there.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Palit, for your wonderful presentation and wonderful and thought-provoking presentation. Uh, and our department is showing a gratitude and welcoming your speech. Now, I would like to request our next speaker, Swami Devapriyananda. Sir, please deliver your lecture. Welcome. The floor is yours, sir.
Can you hear me?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet, Shanti Shanti Shanti. May all become happy, may none fall ill, may all see auspiciousness everywhere, may none ever feel sorrow. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. On the background of the pandemic, I have started with a Vedic chant invoking peace to all of us. Good afternoon to you all. I am thankful to respected Professor Pallav Chakravarti, Principal Jain College, Cuttack, and the professors of History and Political Science, along with the Center for Adivasi Research and Development, for giving me the opportunity to deliver the talk on the subject. I convey my namaskar and best wishes to the academic fraternity and dear students. My topic is Young Minds and New Imagination for Aspiring India. It is well established notion that young generation is the strong pillar of a nation. Enthusiastic, vibrant, innovative, and dynamic nature of youth make them important. Strong passion, motivation, and willpower of young generation enhances a country's ability and potential for growth. Role of young generation in building defense capability of a nation is unquestionable. The energy and passion of the youth, if guided and utilized properly, can bring huge positive change to the society and progress to the nation. Young generation comprises the most valuable human resource for fostering economic, cultural, and political development of any nation. On the contrary, the misguided youth may bring a country to the extent of a failed state. So it is expected that the young minds should be educated, motivated, skilled, and streamlined and engaged properly to bring rapid progress for a country. So it is the size of youth population which is important for a rising nation. Active young population positively contribute to the sustainable development of a country. United Nations adopted the age group 15 to 24 for defining youth. The National Youth Policy in India, when it was initiated in 2003, it defined the youth as in the age group 13 to 35. However, in India, National Youth Policy 2014 modified it and defined youth as persons in the age group 15 to 29 years. According to World Population Prospects 2015 revision, India has the world's highest number of 10 to 24-year-olds with 242 million, despite having a smaller population than China, which has 185 million young people. India is seen to remain younger than China and Indonesia, the two major countries other than India which determine the demographic features of Asia. These three countries together accounted for 68% of population of Asia in the year 2010, and share the Asia itself is about 60% of world population. I can refer in Delhi, Central Statistics Office Ministry, they have published one book named Youth in India 2017. This report has dealt with the youth population and its dynamics and national and international initiatives taken up for the youth of India. We can download the book from internet. We must keep ourselves updated and take the help of these programs in our need. Our late President APJ Abdul Kalam used to say always, knowledge is power. In this digital era, many information are available online. Anyway, when I went through that book, Youth in India 2017, I found the major issues concerning youths in the government papers are education, employment, civic engagement, and migration. But see, these are the discussions from the other side. But what does the young generation think? What do they think about themselves? What is their aspiration? What the young mind says? Population Council and the International Institute for Population Sciences conducted one youth study. Youth in India Situation and Needs Study 2004 to 2010 among 50,000 young people of 6 states: Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Tamil Nadu. They have the study on education, workforce participation, sexual activity, marriage and civic participation. Apart from other findings, that study found that less than half of young men and only about 1 in 7 young women took part in community-led activities such as celebrations, health promotion activities. Nobel laureate Amartya Sen found that report deeply informative, thought-provoking, which could serve as the basis of necessary understanding of the lives of young people in India. We can go through another survey. World Economic Forum and Observer Research Foundation, they collaboratively conducted a survey in 2018 on India, more than 5,000 youth. They wanted to understand which skills and jobs India's young people want and assess whether the current education system meets these aspirations. The results indicate that young Indians are ambitious, show greater autonomy in their career decisions, they acknowledge changing skill requirements, and are eager to pursue higher education, undergo additional training, and enroll in skill development programs. Some key findings are as follows. Number one, Indian youth are independent, optimistic, open to a changing labor market. Number two, Indian youth need more guidance and career counseling. Number three, young Indians are interested in pursuing higher education and skill development. Along with the government's role in providing basic education and training, there is a significant need for greater private sector involvement. This will ensure that the training initiatives are demand driven and impart skills that match modern day's requirements. These programs can be supplemented with career guidance activities with the professionals like talks, seminars, and workplace visits. Collaborations between various government agencies and ministries, the private sector, academic experts, training organizations, civil society, and youth all are needed to enhance young India's potential. Next generation's aspirations are crucial in boosting labor productivity and driving inclusive growth. It is to be remembered, Indian youth do not constitute a homogeneous group. Their socio-economic, demographic, geographical situations vary widely both within and between regions. In general, urban youths have better opportunities for education and than their rural counterparts. Nowadays, youth organizations have come up with innovative programs to address the youth's economic needs, health interventions, environmental programs, character building programs, literacy, vocational training, sports and recreational as well as socio-cultural programs. In general, development of any country has several components. For example, economic component, social dimension, political dimension, and cultural dimension. We know when employed, youths become a reliable source of demand for the economy through their consumption activities. Youths are the foundations of a society. Their energies, inventiveness, character orientation define the pace of development and security of a nation. Through their creative talents and labor power, a nation makes giant strides in economic development and socio-political attainments. And because of their dreams and aspirations, the future of a nation is assured. Conversely, the degree of disorderliness and instability in society is also determined in part by youths. Peace is a precursor of development. In the absence of peace, no meaningful development can take place. Evidence suggests that the youths with few economic prospects and limited political voice are more inclined to path of violence and abuse drugs or commit suicide. Due to idleness, the youths become restless and try anything. Some may end up in crime or with deviant behavior. Unfortunately, hundreds of millions of youths, especially young women, lack education, skills and job training, employment opportunities, and health services, effectively limiting their futures at a very early stage. There exists limited access to information and communication technology due to unavailability, especially in rural areas, and high costs. As a result, youths may react by unleashing risky or harmful behavior against themselves or society. Sports and recreation facilities provide the youth with an opportunity to socialize and spend their time productively, strengthening and developing their character and talents. I can share one of my personal experience. I was in Tripura at that time. The insurgency movement was continuing in Tripura in 1990s. Ramakrishna Mission was working in some remote villages. I remember one village, very remote, Lakshman Dhepa. People were in dire poverty. Youths had no source of income, no recreation, no electricity, no road, only one well for the whole village for their cooking, bathing, washing, feeding cattle, growing vegetables, etc. In these situations, the youth were provided football and some playthings. They were trained to extract rubber from rubber trees. Young women were trained to develop tailoring skill. With the help of government, rubber plantations were made. Gradually, the youth found their livelihood. The situation took a better shape. I think Professor Projit Palit still remember it. We were together at that time. Youth is a new phase in the life. This young age is also called post-adolescence or emerging adulthood. During this time, young people are relatively free from adult responsibilities and explore diverse career and life options. Emerging adults in the age 20s, they feel neither like adults nor like adolescents. Instead, they consider themselves in some ways like each. Youth may begin to make commitments to work, but these are more tentative than they will be later. Jobs are often more likely to be part-time than at older ages. This extended period of youth, that is post-adolescence, is filled with experimentation. But how do you think and act on values related to citizenship, civic participation, and patriotism? What are the important life goals for young people? What are their educational goals beyond high school? What are considered the most desirable characteristics of a job? How do the youth feel about work settings? We find having lots of money, it becomes more and more important among young generation. Making a contribution to society is somewhat less likely than money. So the question is raised, are today's youth turning to become altruistic? That is, they are disinterested in well-being of others. Or are they becoming materialistic? We can remember there are other factors too. Some of them find getting away from this area of the country, or just the opposite, something living close to the parents and relatives. But we must remember, ultimately, highest importance lies in finding purposeful and meaningful life. The young people are not afraid of changes. Change is the norm. University and college education starts the process of conditioning minds. Pre-college students have minds and imaginations relatively unfettered by institutionalized thinking. That is the moment at which youth start manifesting the power of imagination. Youth may be encouraged to ask the question, why not? Or the question, if we, learning from the experiences, to empower the mind to think farther, faster, deeper. We remember, we have read it. Archimedes once said, give me a lever and a fulcrum and I will move the world. The young people are the fulcrum and the power of imagination, the lever. Imagination, we say about imaginative mind, and it makes them creative. But what exactly the word creative means? What exactly is creativity? While there are many components like originality, pleasure, value, process, imagination, the definition the scientists use to study creativity puts all the components together and say creativity is an ability to produce something that is both novel and has utility. Let me repeat. Creativity is an ability to produce something that is both novel, that is original, and has utility, that is valuable to someone. Imaginative minds of youth includes various forms of creative outlets, from the performing arts like dance, music, to the visual arts like drawing, painting, sculpture, design, photography, filmmaking, to the field of science, humanities, whatnot. During childhood and early adolescence, socialization takes place in home and also at school. During their transition from school to work, young people become even more integrated into the society through their employment. According to International Labour Organization ILO estimates, more than one-fifth of youth are not in employment, education or training in the whole world. This is not a very good picture. United Nations Department of Economic and Social Affairs, they have estimated by 2050, older people will outnumber the younger generation in the world. But India will remain in a better position. Surveys show that the most young people in developed countries, they believe they will be worse off than their parents in terms of future income prospects. While the majority in developing countries, they expect they will be better off. This is the paper 2017, Pew Research Center, they published it. In general, this optimism is driven by the expectation of life satisfaction and financial and job security, in particular in emerging economies like China, India, and Brazil. Let us come to one study on Indian youths. A study by Karen Nazareth revealed that young people of India are motivated by their desire. He had listed a lot of desires of the young generation of modern India. I am reading out the list of the desires of young generation of modern India. To do something new independently, to do something for their communities, to achieve a better socio-economic status, to make their family proud, to pursue higher education, to attain financial independence, to develop a distinct identity, to get involved in politics and serve their country. We know there was a time when jobs were ancestral, just like property. A milkman's son became a milkman, a farmer's children carried on farming, a shoekeeper's son took his father's place on the till. And also we found once, for the urban middle class, the government job was the ultimate aspiration. Truly ambitious people were aspiring for banking jobs, and those with both ambition and money, they were trying to go abroad. See, I am living in Zambia, a country in Africa. Literally, thousands of Indians are there in Zambia and other African countries, engaged in various professions. A lot of them are doing business. Some of them are engaged in their traditional family business. I can give you some example. Nais, that is they are the barber. Some parmars we know here, they came from Gujarat. They are of cobbler community. They are here in the business of leather product market. In India, we find there is the National Skill Development Corporation. And also, Skill India campaign was launched by government. And both of them focus on the much needed task of aligning the skill of the Indian youth with the sectors and jobs where they are needed. Government and private sectors must take steps to not just employ the youth, but to make them employable. There are some graduates who cannot read a page in their local vernacular properly. There are some graduates, they cannot read fluently a page of school English book. The education sector should be aligned with the nation's needs, or the overwhelming emphasis on certain sectors like IT must be balanced by promotion of practical skills with a job orientation. The main focus should be, do not let the right talent get away. The youth of India are its greatest asset, and it is important that their aspirations are guided in the right direction in their own interest. We talk about youth of aspiring India. Who is an aspiring person? The definition of aspiring is looking forward to something with great desire, hoping for some dream or goal to come true, or working towards making something happen. An ambitious person is an example of an aspiring person. An aspiring actor is a person who is trying to become an actor. An aspiring novelist is a person who is trying to become a novelist. But there is another word also in our life, inspire. What is the difference between aspire and inspire? To aspire is to rise up to a great plan, an abundant hope of fulfilling a worthwhile mission. And to inspire is to convey a feeling or joining a higher cause, influencing soulful action. Simply defined, aspire is an individual effort. Inspire brings others into the mix. You may get inspiration from others. You may inspire others too. We know we were talking about youth, the young generation of India. We know Swami Vivekananda's birth anniversary is celebrated as National Youth Day every year on 12th January. since 1984. Have we ever thought whether the young generation can draw some inspiration from him to fulfill our goal of life? The present young generation says, in this 21st century, we will solve our problems. Let us build up our career. We dream to live a well orchestrated life. See, Vivekananda was a Hindu monk, but never wanted that everybody would become monk or nun. Rather, he wanted the rise of young generation to build new India. He always spoke about rejuvenation of India. India must have material wealth and physical power. No one takes meek and weak seriously. But India's confidence must come from its ancient civilization and deep spirituality. Intractable problems of today can be dealt better if principles of spirituality were applied to these. Swamiji's message was character building and nation building. These are not esoteric or unintelligible. Esoteric means only a few can understand. What Swamiji says, we can understand it. Swamiji laid down the essentials of success: purity, patience, and perseverance are the three essentials to success, and above all, love. Let me repeat: purity, patience, and perseverance. These are the three essentials to success, and above all, love. December 1993, there was one tribal youth convention. It was held in the headquarters of Ramakrishna Mission, Belur Math. As a brahmachari, I attended it with the tribal youths of Tripura. I came with them. Tribal young boys and girls took part in that convention. Personally, it was an eye-opener to me. We had seen some people who are working among the youths silently, even without seeking any recognition. They are dedicated souls, spending life and energy to help growth of young generation physically, morally, spiritually. I remember one principal of Kendriya Vidyalaya of Agartala, Tripura, who was inspired by Swami Vivekananda and close to Ramakrishna Mission Center at Puri in his young days. We know this Western education, with its developments in science and philosophy, started creeping in Indian psyche in the second half of 19th century. And we started believing our religion is the cause of all problems. We have seen the torture of the kings and the priestly class on the society for ages together. But Swami Vivekananda found religion is something different. Religion is realization. Religion is realization of truth expounded in dharma. We do not follow dharma. That is why we have become degraded. He meditated to find out the solutions to rouse India, not thinking about Bengal or Deccan or North India. He meditated on India and its religion, rather dharma, its culture, its unity in diversity, its past, present, and future. Dharma has no sense in empty stomach. He told, it is an insult to a starving people to offer them religion. It is an insult to a starving man to teach him metaphysics. Vivekananda learnt it from Ramakrishna. He planned how to rouse the common mass from its poverty and ignorance. He wanted to engage the youths, grihasthas, sannyasins to work. No, it is not work, it is worship. God is not residing in heaven only. He is in everyone, in the poor, in the downtrodden. We know in Gita we read, Sarvatah Panipadam Tat Sarvatokshi Shiromukham. He told, who serves Jiva serves God indeed. He wanted to produce teachers who will teach how to regenerate India. He wanted a group of dedicated young souls who will work for rising India. He wanted to save India from its spiral downward journey. He raised his voice. If there is any sin in the world, it is weakness. Give up weakness, as weakness is sin. Weakness is death. His one word can become the motto of the young generation. Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Education is the panacea for all. India should rise upon its own heritage. India's heritage lies on Tyaga and Sheva, renunciation and service. Education is not mere passing the examination or earning degrees or certificates or becoming literate. It must be man-making, character-building education, which will teach to assimilate the ideas. Society changes with time. New problems crop up. We have to solve the problem to march forward. The spirit with which the problems are to be tackled is important. Real power lies in the masses. Impoverished masses should rise both economically and educationally. We must have a process of leveling up, not leveling down, to prefer evolution in India. We may have interest in everything concerning human life, religion, science, art, literature, history, politics, what not. But we want prosperous India, material prosperity with deep moral sensitivity. The ideas which influenced most the Indian history and culture are truth, justice, love, peace, harmony. India nurtured and cherished these ideas over the millennium. So long India continues its traditions, remains true to them, she is safe. Diversity is natural. India is a living embodiment of unity in diversity. Live and let live. It has been India's policy for long. Our motherland, India, has a vibrant, colorful culture. How many of us are aware of the beauty of it? How much we know our own country? Consider our own province, Odisha. Look at our temples and the centuries-old traditions. Everywhere we find the culmination of imaginative ideas, be it sculpture, architecture, sand art, pattachitra, talachitra, stonework, applique work, silver or other metal work, visual art, dance, music, everywhere. Whatever are surviving, they are surviving because the youths have inherited and continued it through their employment and engagement. India had its glorious past in scientific invention, mathematics, algebra, geometry, astronomy, medical science, music, philosophy, visual art, performing art. India has no dearth of spirituality, realized souls. Our lifeblood is spirituality. If it flows strong and pure, everything is right. All the defects will be cured. The spirituality, that is a divineness of each and everything, that can solve the problem of hatred, treacherousness, and meanness of the society. So, we must be patriots. We must love the race which has done great things for us in the past. So we must feel for others, get ready to sacrifice for our own nation, and we must have steadfastness. How many of us can swear, yes, I feel for my countrymen? Do we pass sleepless nights thinking how to bring peace, prosperity to my fellow countrymen? Are we ready to surmount mountain high obstructions? Are we ready to sacrifice our life, our pleasure, our enjoyment for the betterment of our country? Do we want to be unselfish? If we can try to be even little of these things, our society will have a positive change. We remember, for the youths, Vivekananda wrote how every nation becomes great, how a man can become great. The three necessary things he charted out. 1. Conviction of the powers of goodness. Number 2. Absence of jealousy and suspicion. Number 3. Helping all who are trying to be and do good. Let me repeat the 3 points. Number 1. Conviction of the powers of goodness. Number 2. Absence of jealousy and suspicion. Number 3. Helping all who are trying to be and do good. Religion is not in the books. It is not in theories or dogmas or in talking or in reasoning. It is being and becoming. Religion is the manifestation of the divinity already in man, to be good and to do good. That is the whole of religion. Race, religion, language, government, all these together make a nation. In our land, all races melted together. In other countries, political ideas, geographical entity, that brings the concept of nation. In our land, spiritual forces brings the unity. So one Christian is not to become a Hindu or a Buddhist, nor a Hindu or a Buddhist to become a Christian, but each must assimilate the spirit of the others, yet preserve his individuality and grow according to his own law of growth. That was the proclamation of Vivekananda. He said, sects must be, but sectarianism need not. In the talks we find in Vivekananda, everything was included. Hindus, Jains, Buddhists, Sikhs, Shakta, Vaishnava, Shaiva, Muslims, Christians, the valor of Maratha, Rajputana, unflinching faith of Sikh, devotion of saints, chastity and purity of women and men, and of course, all are the governing spirit of life. Try to live to the ideal. Let us admit, if we can fail to do so, but we should never bring down the ideal. His immense faith was there on the capability of women. Birds cannot fly with one wing. Neglecting women will not bring the welfare to the society. To sum up the topic, young minds and new imagination for aspiring India, we, the young generation, must try to build up our own future. We must try to find out our passion, our ability, make us employable, manifest the potential divinity in every person in every field. Let us be patriot, love our motherland, love our own people, love our own culture. Let us come forward, not to fight, but assimilate the ideas. With the feeling for others, with all sorts of imaginations, to bring the nation a glory more than it had in its past. Let us pray for all. I conclude with another Vedic prayer. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vak Pranaschakshu Shrotra Matho Valamindriyani Cha Sarvani Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatsu Dharmaste Mai Santu ते मयि सन्तु। Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let my limbs, speech, vital force, eyes, ears, strength, and organs develop well. May I not deny Brahman, nor Brahman deny me. May all the righteousness contained in the Upanishads repose in me. Engage in self-pursuit. May they repose in me. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Namaskar.
Thank you, Swamiji, for enlightening us by your mesmerizing presentation. Uh, uh, Now, the floor is open for question and answer session. Now, I would like to request Professor Shubham Das to take questions from the chat box and the YouTube live streaming. Over to you, Professor Shubham Das.
Thank you, sir. Um, Swamiji, shall I read all 4 to 5 questions at a time, or I will take one by one question?
Better to be one by one.
Okay, sir. The first question is, why youths of India always worried for money and attracted for beauty and wine, rather doing politics or research, the highest degree of seva? This question is asked by Dr. Vikram.
Why youth of India worried for earning money and? Please repeat the question.
Again, I am repeating the question. Why youths of India always worried for money and attracted for beauty and wine, rather doing politics or research, the highest degree of seva?
Because in the past, our heritage says that we must take the path of Tyaga and Seva. But when the Western education started creeping in our Indian psyche from the second half of 19th century, and we saw the 2 great world war that has devastating effect in the whole world, India was no exception. Our family values, our joint family was shattered, the society was changing. So we became more and more selfish, rather self-oriented. We are losing thinking about others. And when one becomes more and more self-oriented, he is always thinking about his security, his money, his enjoyment, maybe in wine and beauty. So, if we want to become a politician, the true politician who think about others, Rajniti, it is not the Western sociologists' politics. Our ideology was something different. Who will protect others? That was our Rajniti. But we are forgetting the duty of ours towards the society. We are becoming more and more self-oriented person. So all these things are creeping in our values.
Okay, sir. Another question is from Payal Agarwal. Sir, according to you, are the youth of India confident or confused? The question is in the context that there is a huge burden on youths for nation building, and opposite to this, the same are caught under depression and commit suicide.
When the various agencies, they study the younger generation, they find the youth are more confident more and more in the modern days to get something. But they're confident, but when we find that I am not that much well equipped, gradually the same young generation loses the confidence and becomes confused. What to do? I referred it in my talk. I saw it in my own eyes. I'm not getting the information from a other person. It's not second-hand information. I was the principal of one school, the headmaster of another school. I was in the school for more than 2 decades. And I saw the postgraduate. Can you imagine? MA of a certain university cannot read a single page in the own local vernacular, in his mother tongue, cannot read a page of school English book. So, but graduate, postgraduate, as a graduate, a postgraduate in a language cannot recite a small rhyme even. Just I'm giving some examples. Some graduates there are coming, no job. Can you give any job? What can you do? I can bring some water. I can take the notebooks. This is the duty of a group D staff. You are a graduate.
Able to hear you.
So the thing is that we are not employable. Many engineers are coming out of the colleges, but they are getting the job also, and soon they are found out of the job because they are not employable. So this is a very strange thing in our system. So if we cannot become employable in any field, whatever course I can take in my career, but I must be giving myself 100%. I must be employable. I must know. I must have the knowledge. So if these things are not there, then gradually we will be in distress. Then we will be in depression. Depression will grip us, and they commit suicide. They are going to the drugs. So the thing is that we must know our ability. It is not simply the acquiring the certificates, school certificate, college certificate, university certificate. We must know the subject. Otherwise, we will go downward. So the knowledge base should be very strong. And whatever course we want to take up, we must be very truthful, hardworking to know it thoroughly.
Okay, sir. The next question is from Avajana. According to Swami Vivekananda, Indian development depends on development of science and spiritualism among the Indians, but India is still not so developed in comparison to other nations, for which cause we lagged behind, whether for science or spiritualism negligence.
The science and spiritualism, both of them were needed according to Vivekananda. Science says about the outer world. We were once upon a time, if we know the history, if we read, then we know how much progress once upon a time we had compared to the other countries of the world. But afterwards, we lost it. So if we want to gain, we have to learn it. And this is the science. It says, yes, I am doing it. You can also experiment. You can follow it, move on, invent something new. Science is changing and giving more and more things. And that is about the outer world. And the spirituality, it is about the inner world. Swamiji summed up as a potential divinity in everyone, as our Vedas Upanishad says. It is about the inner world. Otherwise, we will turn to a demon, because science can just, for example, fire is there. How to burn, how to make a fire, how to lit the fire. Long back, they used to take the two stones and they would hit each other in the flints and getting the spark and used it. Then came the matchsticks. Now so many things are there. Just I can very easy to make a fire, to lit a fire, but the same fire may give me warmth when I am sick. It gives me warmth when I am in winter. But the same fire I can use to burn the house of my enemy, burn the house of another person who I am not in good terms. So it is not the fire, it is the human being, our mental makeup, that makes the difference, how to use it. So we need the both of them to make the good use of for the humanity and the whole world. Spirituality, if really we can be spiritual, can manifest our own divine nature. If all of us, then all the hatred, all the atrocities, all the family problems, our external problems with the neighbors, with the different communities, all we can meet up gradually when we become more and more spiritual. Spirituality and ritualistic, these things are two different. Rituals are there to, it should be used as the means to develop the spirituality. But spirituality is beyond the thing, that is the divineness. So the science and spirituality both should be there. To cope up with the world, we must learn from others, science and other fields. And spirituality, it was there, it is there from our tradition, thousands of years. We should not forget it. We should keep it up, alive.
Thank you, sir. There is another question by S.K. Imran Kadri. As in the world of science and technology, the religion contradicts with the facts. So why we would follow that type of religion which is not true in fact and logics?
It is not contradicting. How can it be contradicting? When science takes me to laboratory and says, I have invented it, I have done that experiment, you do it, you will also get the same thing. Maybe in the physics laboratory or chemistry laboratory or the biology laboratory or in the mathematics laboratory, wherever it be. The religion is the same thing. It is a laboratory. If the old seers, the saints, they have invented it and they have practiced it, they have realized it. So if I really work hard, I will also be able to realize the same. So Odisha is a place of bhakti. We cannot think about without how to remain without Jagannath. I visited many places, full of temples in many places. There was no shortage of bhakta, the path of devotion throughout India, in Odisha also. There was various saints. They realized that devotion in their own heart. They realized it. How can I deny it? And thousands of years we have seen they have realized repeatedly, years after year, ages, centuries, and every time we found they are where? Realized souls. So how we can say, oh, it is unscientific? It is also same thing. Do, practice. If we do not realize, that means we are not practicing properly. We are not doing the lab experiments properly. So we are getting the wrong results. It is not the religion to be blamed. It is me to be blamed, because I am not practicing it properly. So I am not getting the proper result. So how can it be different thing?
Sir, as it's stated in Yajurved chapter number 5, mantra number 16, God has firmly fixed that earth with pegs around it. How can it be possible scientifically?
Pardon? Please repeat.
Sir, according to Yajurved chapter number 5, mantra number 16, God has firmly fixed the earth with pegs around it. How is it possible by the scientific logic?
Please, can you tell in Sanskrit in the right mantra?
Sir, it was written in Yajurved chapter number 5, mantra number 16. God has firmly fixed the earth with pegs around it. Sir, God
Can
has
you
firmly.
Can you speak in Sanskrit that text? Can you quote it?
No, sir, I had read that in English. I read the Vedas in English translation, sir.
What is there? God
God
is
has God has firmly fixed that earth with
ex-
pegs around it.
Can you write it? Can you write it, please? I can see the statement.
Yes, sir. Yajurved chapter number chapter number 5, mantra number 16. God has firmly fixed it had been sent, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay, Swamiji. I'm reading this.
Huh?
Okay, so Swamiji, I'm reading this as quoted in Yajurveda, chapter number 5, mantra 16. God has firmly fixed the earth with pegs around it.
Okay, thank you.
I am not
We'll
getting.
get it. Okay, okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your
5 and 6. Okay, I will try to figure it out and I will try to give you the answer. Let me go through it.
okay, okay. Later we will get the answer. So thank you for your thought-provoking presentations and question and answers. Now I'd like
One thing
to
I am not getting it, but one thing I can tell you, it is the teaching of Sri Ramakrishna. He says, শাস্ত্রেতে চিনিতে বালিতে মেশামেশি আছে, পিঁপড়ে যেমন বালিটা নিয়ে ছেড়ে দিয়ে চিনিটা নিয়ে যায়. So that means the sand and sugar is mixed, and we have to bring out the sugar cubes, not the sand part. So wherever we will find something is there in our scriptures or wherever it is, so if we find the sugar and sand is mixed together, then we should be like the ants. We should take out that sugar portion, not take the sand. That is the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, I can tell you. I am not getting what the text you are referring, but anything, anywhere, any text, in any scripture, if we find these things are the same, sand and sugar is mixed, we must not take the sugar, it will not help us. Take the sand, it will not help us. Take the sugar, that will be the nourishing part. That I can tell you. Anything more?
no, sir. Thank you, sir, for enlightening us.
Thank you all again.
Now I am requesting Ms. Payal Agarwal to give the vote of thanks and his closing comments and her closing comments. Ms. Pagat Agarwal.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Rudra. The first technical session of this series of international webinar has almost came to a conclusion. Thanks to Professor Projit for giving an excellent talk on tribals in Northeast and a comprehensive overview on the resistance movement. It was really very knowledgeable. My thanks also to Swami Devapriyananda for making us understand the true meaning and the true power of youths. Thanks a lot to both of the excellent speakers for joining with us from far away and giving their valuable time and enlightening us as well. Thanks a lot to the organizers for taking all the pains to organize, and also thanks to the participants for giving a patient hearing. Now the meeting is concluded. The next session will be intimated to everyone via WhatsApp group. So everyone is requested to stay connected. Thank you.